everyone, and welcome back to another video. My name is Juan Londoño, and today's topic, who is interviewing who anyway? Let me start this segment by just saying that some of the worst moments I've experienced in my photography journey come from dealing with difficult people. And the truth is that most of the time that probably could have been avoided by me. We all probably agree that there are two main sides to every camera. We all know that a camera has more than two sides, but typically speaking, we have the front of the camera and the back, right? Behind the camera is moi and yourself, the photographer, or as I like to call her, the creator of memories. And in front of the camera is the memory to be captured, otherwise known as the subject. And the best photographs, I'll tell you from practical experience in so many years taking pictures, the best photographs are taken when both of these are in harmony. Before we go any further, it is water break. I don't have a lot, well I do actually, I probably have 8 ounces here. Please, if you don't have any water, pause the video, go grab yourself some cool water, however you like to drink it, in tea, warm, cold, whatever. And I will have a sip while you go get yours. So welcome back. I hope you have some water with you. So as we were saying, the best photographs are taken when both of these sides are in harmony. And for that, I want to bring up a quote. Alfred Eisenstaedt had a quote that I really like. So it goes something like this. It is more important to click with people than to click the shutter. You know, if you've been following the channel, you know that I preach this so much. Everybody always talks about how to become the best photographer. And they conveniently leave out the importance of dealing with people, of treating your customer right, of treating anybody right. You know, we may be doing it voluntarily, but we still have to treat people right. And that gets omitted in a lot of the stuff of how to become a great photographer. Yeah, master Photoshop or master Lightroom or whatever software you're using, master the camera, master lenses, composition. You know, we can talk about this all day long. But we have to talk about personality, people skills. And why is that important here? Well, if you have good people skills, you have a great personality, you know how to read people and how to, you know, bring yourself to their level, then this isn't a problem for you. You've been working on that your whole life already, and you've become pretty good at it. And continue to listen, because this is very important. If you realize at some point that you are a difficult person, or people have told you this, or whatever, you know, you have this feeling inside of you from how people act around you and what they've said, maybe even whispering to each other, that you might be difficult, then please pay attention. This is very important. You can't have harmony if either the photographer or the subject are acting like buttholes. And certainly you will not have any harmony, and it may end up being a disaster actually, if both the photographer and the subject are buttholes. Being that we can't control the subject, right? I mean, they are the way they are. We can only control ourselves. And that's why I was telling you just a minute ago, if you realize that you have these skills, continue to sharpen them, continue to hone in on them and grow them. If you are lacking in this area, or you are kind of shy, it might not even be that you're a butthole, it might just be that you're shy and you're uncomfortable around people. Well, guess what? That's going to show, right? So you want to start practicing with people, talking even when you go pay for something, the register, right? They're wearing a nice ring, they have a cool earring or tattoo, make a comment. Hey, I like your tattoo, that's a cool earring, where did you get that? Whatever. Start practicing conversation, because you're going to need that skill. It's very important. But back to the video. The video is not about really us in this case. It's about dealing with butthole clients. Some of the most magical moments can be captured when both the photographer and the subject are not only in harmony, but when there's a deep understanding between them. Except as a photographer, it's hard for me to know what my subjects are like, right? If somebody comes to me and they are interviewing me for a wedding, that tends to be a one-sided interview. They want to find out if I am good enough as a photographer to shoot their wedding. hasn't crossed their mind that I would be interviewing them. And this is the point of this video. We as photographers should never enter an interview thinking that we are being interviewed only, that it's an honor to shoot somebody's wedding, and it is. It's an honor to shoot somebody's wedding, but even if they're buttholes, we have to put up with them. That is not the case. Please realize that. Avoid yourself a ton of grief by knowing that ahead of time, keeping that in mind during every interview. I'd go a step further. At the end of when I was doing my own weddings, because I ended up, after I shut down my own wedding business, I started getting called by other photographers to do weddings. So I continued, but it was different because a lot of the stress was gone. They were dealing with the contracts, they were dealing with the albums and handing the pictures over. I was just there to shoot the pictures, right? But when I was still doing it and I was coming to the end of it, I started telling people when they'd call me and say, hey, do you have some time to talk? You know, either my daughter's getting married or we're getting married and we want to talk to you about, you know, we want to see your work and we want to talk to you about, you know, what you cost and all that stuff. And I'd say, absolutely, yes, I'd love that. We talk for a few minutes about some stuff. And then at the end, I'd say, so let's meet whatever, right? Let's meet tomorrow at 5 p.m. as we agreed on. And let's decide if we're both ready to work with each other. I always worded it that way so that coming into the interview, they knew they were not just interviewing me, I was interviewing them. So going back to that point that, you know, I don't really know my clients. Sometimes I will, but many times I don't. There's somebody calling me out of nowhere, even sometimes from other states or countries. And one of the best ways for me to know a little bit about them is that interview. So when you are being interviewed, make sure that you have some questions to back up your side of the interview. Unfortunately for all of us, we are brainwashed. I'm going to say it just bluntly. We're brainwashed to think that our whole life we've been interviewed for jobs, right? And we sit there all meek and humble and we're hoping that we look good and we smell fresh and we're witty and smart and not over the top on anything, and that people like us, and all those questions that they ask us, we hope that we answer them right, and we walk away thinking, gosh, I hope I got the job. Occasionally you get people that say, you know, I'm going to check out this company and see if they're worth working with. Wow, that's a tongue twister. But, you know, you don't see that many times. Most of the times we go into those interviews, you know, praying that we get the job, not even wondering if it's a good company to work for. So now here we are in the photography arena, and we're being interviewed again. And we're being interviewed by an employer, no different than our employer, if you know, 9 to 5 world. And we're meek and humble and hope we smell good and hope we look good and hope everybody likes us and hope they like our work. But we have to shift our mindset. If we're going to do good work, that work I talked about, the best images are taken when there's a deep understanding between the photographer and the subject. That can't happen if the subject has issues, personality issues, if they're bitter, if they're... Now, we can't guess what they're going to be like the day of the wedding. Maybe things aren't working out and they're going to be a little different than they were. That happens, right? Than they were when they interviewed you. But most of the times that doesn't happen that way. People will approach you and they'll start talking to you about photographs and about what they need. And you're going to detect if there's an issue with their personality, if there's an ego problem, if they're condescending, if they're talking down to you, which is condescending, if they, whatever, even if they're slightly narcissistic. You're going to see these things, right? And you should raise that flag and get the heck out of there, you know? One way to do it, by the way, we're going to talk about that in a second, but the point here is understand that you are interviewing your clients as well. Very important. If you're not at the point where you're ready to let them know that you're interviewing them, that's fine. Just pay attention when they're interviewing you and decide for yourself if they seem like good people to work with, good people to work for. If they do, then proceed. If they don't, then here we are now with that part of the video where, how do you do that? Well, one of the ways I used to do it is I'd say, okay, if they had to make some decisions still, like what they wanted and what packages and things, I would say, you know, take this week, look at the stuff you want, and we'll talk again at the end of the week, okay? I already knew I wasn't taking their job, so that was kind of a buffer. and it would buy me a little time. They'd contact me, say this was a Monday. They'd contact me on Thursday. Hey, Juan, we're ready to, we've decided, you know, we're ready to let you shoot our wedding. Oh, I'm so humble. Wow. You know, and I would say, oh, you know what? That date that you were looking for, that date's already taken this week. Or I'll say something like, just a little while ago, I got a call. Somebody had already interviewed me a week ago, and they've taken the date. I didn't think they were going to get back to me so quick, but they just confirmed. So I'm sorry. Good luck finding another photographer. Nice talking to you. Bye. So that's one way to do it. If they don't have to make any decisions, if they've already decided, we want you, we love you, you're a great photographer, your work is outstanding, it speaks for itself, where do I sign? Say, hang on a minute, I have to tell you one thing. I was interviewed a week ago for the same date, and I'd like to give that person the opportunity to decide, because I told them I would give them a couple of weeks. So depending on what happens with that interview, I'll let you know if my date is available, because I have to take these in order. I have to be fair. If you were first, I'd want to be fair to you. That's how you say it, okay? That way they don't feel like you're stabbing at them. Say, if you had come to me before, I would have shown you the same respect, right? So when you word it that way, they're going to say, okay, that's fair. Just keep me posted. I hope this happens. And then you can call them 2 days later and say, hey, guess what? They called back and they've booked me for the date. So good luck finding a photographer. Nice talking to you. That's it. That's how you get out of that situation, all right? I wish there were a way that people like that can be told their buttholes. If every photographer that they spoke to had this mentality that I'm interviewing my clients as well, then everybody would turn them down. And they would feel obligated to either change the way they're acting or start asking, what is it with photographers? And maybe one of the photographers would be a little bold and say, it's your personality. Nobody wants to work with you, right? There are truly difficult people. I've been stuck with my share of them at weddings because I was naive at first. I was trying to get a lot of work. I was trying to make money to buy more equipment, but I also wanted the skill, the knowledge that comes with practice, right? And you charge somebody less for a wedding and you're happy that you're doing it because you're gaining knowledge. And it ended up being horrible. A lady wanted to sue me, and it had nothing to do with me. They were working with a wedding planner, which was working with me. The wedding planner didn't deliver what they said they would, apparently. I don't know the whole story. And they called me directly and said they wanted the pictures or they were going to sue me. And I said, my pictures don't go to you, unfortunately. My contract is with the wedding planner. So I give the pictures to the wedding planner, and guess what? I already have. Oh, the wedding planner said that you had the pictures and they didn't have them yet. I said, look, whatever you discuss with the wedding planner is your business. I have turned the pictures over already. So, if you want to avoid those problems, leave out the intermediary person, the middleman, middlewoman, whatever. Just deal with the customers yourself, and then pay really close attention. If you're not good at reading people, get a book. Get a book on that. There are plenty of books on reading people. Just, search the item, searching on Amazon too for books and videos. How to read people, how to better understand people, the psychology of people. There's so many things you can search on. And, most of us have that slight skill anyway, even if it's not, really mature. But we know to some degree who's pleasant and who's not. Keep in mind, it gets worse the day of the wedding. Weddings are tough, right? So that's it. That's my advice to you. Make sure you interview your interviewer. Not doing so can lead to disasters. And my friend was sued. It turned out he was starting to, but he hadn't really been in it a year. Became Atlanta's best photographer for weddings. But during the first year, he did the best he could, and the pictures actually came out very nice. The couple had been looking at magazines for a month before the wedding, and when they got their pictures back, it didn't look like pictures in the magazine, and they were upset, and they sued him. And he won in court because he had a good contract. Oh, make sure you have a contract. That's not even part of this video. I'm going to do a video on contracts, but make sure you have a contract. Make sure in the contract somewhere, you specifically what you're going to hand over, and put somewhere in there, we're going to do the best of our ability, right? The best to our ability. I'm having trouble wording that. But anyway, you're going to do the best you can, right? That's what you're going to put in there. When the judge sees that, They can say, look, this photographer did the best they could, right? You don't like it, that's your problem. But that's one of the problems, by the way, and I'll end it here. People spend like, 2-3 weeks looking at bridal magazines, not realizing that that's not an actual wedding they're looking at in a bridal magazine. It's a photo shoot with professional makeup artists and hair stylists and dress, designers and all kinds of things. The setting was specifically picked out for that. People met there and they spent hours shooting on location to get that picture for the magazine that looks like a wedding day picture. And it's not, right? And then you come in as a photographer, I come in as a photographer, and we're supposed to duplicate that in a 5-minute photo shoot around the garden. It's not going to work, right? But some people don't get it. So if you want to minimize some of that, turmoil, make sure during the interview process, when you're interviewing them and they're interviewing you, that you mention, please keep in mind that these pictures you're showing me that you want, these are all studio pictures with, lighting and all kinds of things that we're not going to have on location, right? Your makeup artist is long gone by the time we're doing this. You may be a little sweaty, all kinds of things, right? Lighting's not going to be there completely like it is. There aren't going to be any, hair designers or hair stylists on site. So just keep in mind, there's a reality to the pictures that we're going to be taking that's not here. This is very artificial. So, and most people are going to say, I get it. But by doing that, you've warned them. And if you want to put that in the contract, that's fine too. With that, I like to end the video. Thank you very much for watching. Your time is very, very important to me, and I really do appreciate it, always. Please like and subscribe, share and comment. Take care of yourselves, drink your water, take your vitamins, get sleep, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. As always, ciao for now.